Good morning. It's Friday again, so welcome. It's your body and soul that we're dealing with. Okay, so this morning we're focusing on sedentary work and sedentary lifestyle. Sedentary, we're basically talking about being inactive, sitting jobs where we're sitting in one place for long periods of time, and the damaging effects it has on our health. And we'll have two guests in the studio, Edmund Thompson, a behavioral coach, and Penny Pemper, the yoga expert, who will be helping us to discuss how harmful our lives are, or how harmful it is when we live inactive lives and we're not using enough of our energy. Okay? So, and then later we'll be discussing and looking at researching some of the facts to do with sedentary living and how it affects our lifestyle. And then remember, at the end, Penny's going to take us through some African yoga. So get ready for that, okay? So now I'm going to take you straight into my motivational message. Now we're talking today about sedentary living, being inactive. So my main message I want to get across to you this morning is that this morning is about challenges. Now, a challenge, what we need to learn is that if we don't challenge ourselves in life, then life is going to challenge us. The game will start to turn around. Remember, the aim of challenges is to help us to grow, is to help us to expand, and to help us to improve on ourselves. So when we run away from challenges, the opposite occurs. So whether we like it or not, if we don't challenge life in front, then life is going to challenge us. And one example of this, now Beyonce is an example of a perfectionist. And perfectionists are people who are good to look at when we want to learn how to challenge ourselves. Beyonce took a group of artists from Africa. She got them from the continent, just regular young guys, but they were doing some dance moves that were not out in the industry yet, and nobody had seen, and she went and learned. She brought them over to the States to learn the movement rigorously day in, day out, until she was able to perform it on her song. And in every level, they say Beyonce is a perfectionist. She works hard, she doesn't stop, and there's never a point where she's actually satisfied with the work that she does. And this is how we challenge ourselves. Not only does she look for opportunities to improve herself, but she looks for challenges. Remember, she could easily bring in a choreographer and he'd just give her the work routine, but she would rather do it herself and look for the challenges within there. So when we aim for perfectionism, we tend to have that attitude and energy towards improving ourselves. So be a perfectionist, because remember, if we don't challenge ourselves, life is going to challenge us. Now, an example of when we don't challenge ourselves is Paul Getty. Major millionaire, exceptionally wealthy man in the United States. He was known for I think it's an oil empire that Paul Getty had. But when his wife died, he chose to go to become a recluse. That means he wanted to hide off from the rest of the world. But like we said, if you don't challenge life, life is going to challenge you. The moment he decided to become a recluse, his son was kidnapped. That brought him back into the world out again, and then he asked his father actually to help him to pay for it, because there was actually an extortionate amount, and his father refused, because he says, I've got 14 grandchildren. If every one of them get kidnapped, I'm going to be in trouble. Eventually, they did have to rescue the child and pay for him, because they cut off the child's ear. But the point was, after that, Paul Getty got sicker and sicker, and at the age of 54, one of the richest men on the planet, through simply trying to get away from life and the challenges of progression and moving on. He maybe felt he had it all already. He maybe felt he had all the wealth that he needed. Why should he bother do any more? But the problem with not doing more, you always have to grow. Money is not the only reason to grow. So you see that what happened is that life attacked him, first with his son, then with his health, eventually with his life at the tender age of 54. And in this day and age, 54 is young. And then my final point that I want to make is that if you don't challenge life, and life challenges you, challenges can either break you or make you. And when you face up to those challenges, they'll break you, but when you run away from them, they'll make you. Now, Mike Tyson is an example of challenges making somebody and actually breaking somebody as well. Mike Tyson grew up on the streets of America, ghetto life, no family support. He was a struggler and a fighter from day one. He had to learn to look after himself. Now, the way that life was challenging Mike Tyson as a child, he was able to later come back and become the world international boxer, world #1 heavyweight boxing champion. Okay, I got a bit of a tongue twist there. Okay, he became world heavyweight champion, and this was from his experience of what he had to go through on the street. So no matter where you're getting your challenges, they're going to be useful at some point or the other. The point is to step up to them. Now, when Mike Tyson stopped fighting, what's happened now is that he's put on so much weight, so the physical challenge that he was getting as a heavyweight boxer has now taken out of his life, and now the real challenges that he has to face as an ordinary person is just with weight, like so many of the rest of us. So what we say is that the challenges will either break you or make you. But my final point is, if we do not look for challenges in life, if we do not look for the way to grow ourselves, to improve ourselves, to expand ourselves, to push ourselves beyond the limits that we are used to, we start to go backward. You are a fluid object, and you're either flowing forward towards positivity or you're flowing backward towards negativity. There is nothing called standing still. There is nothing called in the middle. So when you're getting out this morning or getting up out of your bed, you make up your mind that you're going to set your own goals, set your own targets, and challenge yourself before life gives you a deadly and a negative challenge, okay? We're going to take a little break, then we'll have our guests in to discuss sedentary life a little bit more. Okay, welcome back. So now we're with our guests and we're going to be discussing inactivity in our lifestyle, sedentary living. What does that mean? Okay, so welcome, Goff.
Hello, how are you?
Nice to see you here.
Good.
And Penny, nice to have you on as well. All right, so we're going to go straight into it. So, Goff, in your opinion, what is sedentary living?
I mean, it's a lifestyle where I feel personally that you're not living up to your full potential. You find that people have become quite slow. There's not that much that they do in a day.
Yeah.
And that can be a lot to do with where they are in their life, in the sense that if they have a home, a car, they earn a certain amount of money, there is somebody to do nearly everything that they need done in life, which can help or cause people to be quite static.
Definitely. So how about you, Penny? How do you see inactivity especially in the workplace, because that's where we're dealing with?
I think inactivity in the workplace, it can, as Gov has already touched on, make people very, very stuck, static.
Yeah.
And, you know, basically it just restricts person's energy, so you know they're not going to be working as productively, they become very set in their ways, and the inactivity also leads to, you know, the body starting to deteriorate from my perspective.
True, because these are the effects, aren't they? When we start to talk about the effects of sedentary living now, I think that's what the serious point is, because I mean, I think in the olden days they would have said sedentary was laziness, isn't it? That would have been the word that they used. But the reality of it, because people are using their brains like computers, they're obviously not lazy, they're active, but it's only one, the body is lazy, but the mind is active. So some of the effects, what you work with a group of women, Gov, what are some of the effects that you see, and they're quite mature? Tell us a little bit about the group.
I work with a group of women, middle-aged women, who, you know, what I found was that initially when we started doing the training, they used to complain of body pains, lethargy, you know, inactivity within themselves, you know, bad sleeping habits and so on and so forth. But as soon as they started to do some exercise, initially there was the pain of your muscles waking up, but now that they found that they sleep that much better, their appetites are much better, they have much more control over the things that they choose to do. You know, initially they found that they were kind of giving into their desires a lot, you know, eating the wrong things at the wrong times. But now they feel much stronger within themselves and able to say yes or no to what they really want to do.
That's interesting, because so many people always complain that, oh, I haven't got time for exercise, or I think they think that exercise is going to slow down their day and make make them feel tired and make them feel lacking in energy to do the jobs. But I think from us being in the industry, we start to see that the opposite is actually true, isn't it?
Most definitely. I mean, the body is 70 to 80% water, depending on what you refer to.
That's right.
And so, you know, people need to be mindful that, you know, you need to keep moving. You need to be fluid. You know, this thing of people not finding time, if it means you're going to be more productive, you know, it's worth taking out even just 5 minutes to be active. Even when you're saying, you know, people who use their minds and are not using their bodies. If your body is not active and the blood and, you know, your energy is not flowing to its optimum, you're not even going to be able to think to your optimum either.
Right.
So they go hand in hand, you know. So yeah, it's very important that, you know, people prioritize
back to active living, because we were meant to be active even from in the womb. You move, it's a constant thing. But I do think we're starting to think of ourselves as solid objects, like the table or the chair, which is what we was discussing before, where there's no sense of growth, but our body's always growing. We're always getting new cells, and the stimulation for new cells is movement, isn't it? So that's become key. I really want those at home today to really take home the message that movement is the bottom line for health. You know, active movement is one of the key principles that is essential when we're talking about our health. Okay? So, Gov, I want to take the what are the different, like you lived in the UK, so let's look at the difference of sedentary living here compared to the UK or a Western country. What is the difference in terms of our activity here to outside?
I mean, one of the biggest differences is that the amount of money that you need to be able to have a sedentary lifestyle. If you wish to be, say, somebody that, somebody cooks for you, cleans for you, drives you, does the what is quite basic here. In London, you need a lot of money to make that happen.
A hell of a lot. We can't afford that lifestyle.
Whereas here, you know, you can be in a middle income job and have everything within the home and everything that, you know, other people have to do done for you. Which can create a system where you find that culturally people think, like I said earlier, once they've got a house, a car, all the things that society says they should have, they can be quite relaxed. You can have somebody that food is brought to them, taken away from them, you know, their clothes are pressed, so all they do is just kind of walk around the house.
There's
people walk from in the house to a car, to a work, to back to, so it can happen that way quite easily. But that's one instance where it's a major difference for me.
Do you see the cultural difference?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, Penny.
I think in the Western world, people, you know, are forced to be more active.
But I think sedentary is a problem outside there as well, isn't it?
Yes, but in a
different way. Yes.
In a very different way. I would argue that in the Western world, it is more down to the aging process. So you get to a certain point in the Western world where that is the factor that slows you down, and you may become more isolated. But for the most part, even in those situations, people still have to be semi-active.
In their home. I think it's a little bit in their home than anywhere else. Because in UK, everybody's got car. I think the West, I think, has a different problem, like you say, in that they don't have servants and people helpers, but they've all got their own car, driving into work. They've got this technology, you know, technology there. You've got the remote control for the TV. There was one survey that was done with a group of students that was dealing with weight loss, and what they did for a month, they took the remote control of one group of students and left the other group with the remote control, and the group that didn't have it lost weight, you know, a significant amount of weight in that time. Because I think in the Western world, it's more about having the finance to be able to not do stuff in terms of movement, and then we still have the same jobs. I tend to think it's a lot of us taking on the Western type work and moving away from some of the jobs that we used to do. What are some of the jobs that you would say would be useful if we're going to avoid that sedentary living, to be more active? What are some of the jobs that people should consider?
I mean, outside of the home, I mean, anything that involves labor, manual labor, is going to help. But within the home, simple things that maybe people do for you. You'd be surprised the amount of energy it takes to sweep. If you just to get up, or take your own plate to the kitchen, do the dishes.
I know.
You know, whether it's washing clothes.
Do you have a helper in your house, girl?
No, I don't.
Oh, do you have one, Penny? Oh, I'm the guilty one.
So there are just the basic things of life, and what you find is that as you were just giving the example of the two groups, and one group the remote control was taken away. So initially the distance they would have to move to change the television is very short. But what it does is that the more you do is the more you're able to do.
Right.
So if you start with something small, you'll find that you'll have more energy to then do other things. You know, so it's just it's a growing process. Our bodies were made to be active. So,
well, you were saying something, Penny, to me earlier behind the scenes of energy and how energy moves when we're inactive. So what happens when we're inactive, when we're sitting at our office desk, sitting in our car, sitting at our TV, sitting. What is this sitting culture doing to the energy in our body?
It gets blocked, it gets congested, you know. If energy is not flowing, that's what happens. It gets trapped, and that's where you get the ailments, the aches, the illnesses, the disease. This is where it stems from. You know, if your joints, especially if they that flow of blood and air, if it's not able to move properly, that is what causes all these different illnesses in terms of people's blood pressure not being regulated because the blood is becoming stagnant. If people are not breathing in the right way, which is fundamental, to day-to-day life, people breathe very shallow. You're sitting in the same position all the time. Things become very, very blocked.
Well, we had this with posture when they were discussing posture, how people slumped over, so they're breathing. I mean, how do you see where is this all going? In terms of, because what we're seeing is a movement from when we were farmers, when we were laborers, when we were doing jobs that really enabled us, mind, body and soul, to be active. Because even if you're a farmer, you're going to have to look at different ways to plant. You still use your mind. But now it's a mind, it's the technology, it's the fingertip. I said some of my women, the most effort that they have to make is to
press a button.
or point a finger or get me this. That's the energy level. So where is it going, and what, as a society, what do we have to start thinking about?
I think for me, I would say, just in terms of longevity in life, already year on year, the mortality rates are getting lower and lower in terms of how long people are living. Younger and younger people are having heart attacks. Younger and younger people are having high blood pressure and low blood pressure issues. And all of these things, I think, are related to the lifestyles that people are living.
It is. I mean, science backs you up there. It's related to it a lot. How about you, Gov? Where is it we're going? What do we have to change in this game now?
The thing is that life has changed. Technology has made big differences in the way that we look at the world and interact with the world. But we still have a choice as to whether or not we choose to be productive. The question that I will always ask somebody is that, are you truly happy with your life? Are you fulfilled with the way that your life is going?
But I always find it interesting that people don't ask themselves that question. Happiness is not a topic for a lot of people.
But the thing is that you can always remind people, you can always bring people to that point of asking themselves the right question, so that then they find a solution for themselves. If somebody can realize that they're not happy with the way that they are, then the next question is, what do I need to do to make myself happy and fulfilled? So, I mean, for us as a nation, as a people, the direction is totally up to us. We can choose to make a very productive culture, country, if we choose to do so.
Like the Chinese, they exercise in the workplace. Everybody has a workout session. They have a gym there. I mean, I think we have to start looking at these as alternatives, taking the members out in groups, give them a little walk around the yard. Don't just be all just chasing the money. This one drops there, then put somebody else in there chasing the money again. What's your final point on sedentary inactive life, Penny? What would you like?
I think what comes to mind is, for me, being into yoga, I would say mobility is flexibility, and that's, a key to how, one can progress in their life.
Okay.
Just, keep it moving.
Mobility is the key to flexibility. Okay, I want you to remember that. We're going to go for a little break now, and then we're going to look into some of the research and the facts that I talked about. What is happening to your body when you are living an inactive life? We'll be back in a moment. Okay, sorry, we'll be doing exercise. You just corrected me for some reason. Okay. Okay, so welcome back. We're dealing with sedentary living, inactive living, especially where it affects us in the workplace. Okay, so we need to look at some of what the industry is saying and what are some of the facts that's affecting our activity level. Now, the World Health Organization has shown us that up to 85% of the population, the world population, is living in active life. So all of the issues that are coming on is not affecting a small portion of the population, it's affecting the globe. And this is one of the reasons why illness is becoming rampant. I mean, this image that we're seeing on the screen is pretty much a reality of us from moving to man, hunter, gatherer, farmers, you know, being active, being out there, creating our own home, building our own homes. Now everything is pretty much done for us, and this image of the final man sitting around the computer, tapping away, is really where we're finding life today. And like I was asking my guest before, where is this all going? Now, one area that I suggest it's going to be going into is the amount of sedentary living or inactive lifestyle is classed as the modern day disease. And this is what's bringing us so much sickness in. When we do not move our body, when we're inactive, our blood cannot flow, the illnesses come on, and the number of illnesses go from backache to cancer to your eyesight. There are so many illnesses, and the worst thing is that, number one, this gentleman on the screen, he's not moving, but he does what so many of us does as well, is that he's also eating whilst he's not moving. So the two things are here. The food is coming in and blocking up his system, and it's solid food as well, and there's nothing, no activity that he's doing to enable that food to move around. So obesity is one of the biggest causes of, or one of the biggest effects of inactive lifestyle and inactivity in the workplace. Just a small change with that inactivity, just getting up sometimes, can make a difference. Now, some of the solutions, what the basic point is that inactive living, inactive work is going to hit at your health, and it will hit at your health hard. If you've got heart disease, if you've got diabetes, if you've got backache, it will only get worse and continue to get worse with inactive living. But what we see up here on the screen, one of the solutions is walking. Now, I particularly wanted to focus on school children because, one, we need to start walking our children to school. So many women say they don't have time to exercise because they've got to drop the children after school, then straight to work. Well, why don't we schedule it in and start to train the next generation what it is that movement is essential, and don't start training them, because we have these dadaba who I see quite a few of them who are going towards that obese direction. Walk them to school, and if we have drivers, let's drive them half the way if it's a long journey, get out of the car, let the driver meet us at the school and maybe walk some of the way, or we'll walk the children back from the school. But what I'm saying, let's embrace it into our life and our day-to-day living. Now, walking is one of the key things, because what they're suggesting is that an active person needs to be taking approximately 10,000 steps a day. That is 5 miles of walking, and that's around 2,000 calories that we are burning. Now, that might seem a lot if you're thinking in terms of 5 miles, but if you're thinking in terms of not 24 hours, 24 reminders, 8 is 16, 16 hours of being awake, if we just the gentle steps that we take on a day-to-day basis will take up a lot of those miles. Another solution as well is to change the food that we're eating. The problem with inactivity is like water running through a river or a lagoon. If the water doesn't move, it becomes stagnant, and it's the same with our blood. Now, in the river, when the water doesn't move, it becomes stagnant, smelly, dirty, and, you know, disease can be caught easily there. Well, how much more so in your body with the blood that's in your body? If that is not flowing, if that liquid is not moving, and if you're not putting more fresh water in to flush yourself out, then sickness is going to occur, because we're going to get congestion. So if we're sitting around, if you're sitting and if you're forced to eat at your office desk, I suggest you go with the salads, with the apples, with the fruits, with the watery things that will naturally and easily metabolize in your body. So fundamentally, inactivity is not, we cannot take it for granted, and let's not wait until those sicknesses start to hit us and then say, oh, why am I sick? Why have I got a headache? Why have I got a stroke? Why have I got a backache? Before we have those issues, let's get up and start moving. In the office, they often recommend just walk the stairs. When you're on the phone, I know a lot of you are on the phone, but if you can talk on the phone, and if most of your job is on the phone, get up. Why can't you stand up and talk and even, you know, just move around casually? Nothing too energetic. Those small movements make a big difference. 1 hour in the gym will not produce the results that constant movement, small natural movements throughout the day will produce, okay? So I want you to think about that. I want you to think about your health, and let's summarize now by saying inactivity is a killer. We need to challenge ourselves. We need to challenge our bodies. We need to challenge our minds, and that constant challenge enables progress and enables us to improve our health and to keep our health in wonderful condition, okay? And just to support that, we're going to bring Penny on with Gov and Basil, and they're going to give you a workout that will ensure your blood is not getting stuck, okay? Okay, so now we're back with exercise. One of the best exercise that I can recommend is yoga, especially when it's in the African Kemetic style. This is not Asian, spiritual, meditative yoga. This is about movement. This is about relaxation. This is about allowing the blood to flow through your body. So feel free, get up if you're in the office, if you're in the home or in the gym, and join Penny for this few 5 minutes to get our blood flowing, okay? I'll be back. It's all yours, Penny.
Good morning. So as Rima said, we're going to get the blood flowing this morning. I'm going to get us to start working from the top of our bodies. So you're going to just bring your shoulders up and roll back. You're going to breathe in and out. In and out. Okay? Nice deep breaths as you bring the shoulders up and down. Just starting to pull the spine up and really stretch. Almost aiming to bring the shoulders up towards the ears, so you're really stretching the vertebrae. Okay? Nice deep breaths. We're going to bring it forward, so you're rolling the shoulders forward now. Just starting to now stretch the back. Nice deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Shake it out, start to bring that energy down. Arms. We're going to come down into a slight squat. And we're just going to relax and unwind the waist as we breathe in and out. Okay? Nice deep breaths as you go round and round. Opposite direction. Bring it up. We're going to stretch up and come down into a squat. Okay, so we're opening up the chest as we come up, bringing it down, nice strong stance. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. Come up and bring it down. Come up, nice deep breaths. Really allowing the energy to flow through the body. Come up and come down. Last 3. Deep inhale, exhale down. And now we're going to go to water. You're going to come up and you're going to roll the shoulders and really flex the spine, bringing it all the way down. And as we touched on earlier, the body is 70 to 80% water, and this just allows the blood and the air and the internal organs to just move and flow. You can bring it forward. Just breathe nice and deep. Opposite side. Let's bring it forward again. Really roll those shoulders. Remember how we started off? You're now engaging your core, upper thighs, your knees, all the way down to the soles of the feet. Opposite direction. Perfect way to warm up.
Stop right well.
Bring it forward. Okay, let's come together. Feet come together. We're going to come up. Nice strong stance. You're coming down. So you're bending at the knees and pushing down. Okay? Nice deep inhale and exhale. Breathe nice and deep. So the arms are nice and straight. Back is nice and straight. Your knees are bent and you're pushing down. Nice strong thighs. Nice deep breaths. Come up and release. We're going to go again one more time. Inhale and exhale. Bring it up. Knees bend and push down. So the arms are stretching up. Knees are bent. Nice straight back. And a nice deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Come up. We're going to just deepen the stretch now. I'm going to ask you to lift your left leg. Step back. Arms come up. And you stretch straight down. So you're almost in a lunge. Both feet are flat. Back is straight. Arms are straight. Nice deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. You want to stay here for about 6 breaths. Come up. Bring the legs back to center. Arms come down. Take a nice deep breath again. Inhale and exhale. Opposite leg is going to go back this time. So we're coming up. Step back. Straight down. Okay? So you're in your lunge. Or a variant. Nice deep inhale and exhale. Both feet should be flat so you're nice and stable. You're pushing down. Arms straight up. Nice deep breaths. I'm going to stay here for about 6 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Legs are going to come up and back to center. Bring it down. Okay? We're just going to deepen the stretch even further. So now you're coming up. Arms are open. And you're going to come down into a chair position. Okay? So as the body starts to open up, we just get slightly more dynamic. Okay? Deep inhale and exhale. We're going to come up and come down, and you're ready to start your day.
Your flow. Your water's not flowing.
It's not flowing good enough, man.
Okay, that was lovely. Thank you, Penny. Thank you, Basil. That was really wonderful. I hope you enjoyed the little workout, and I hope your water was flowing better than yours was flowing. Okay, we're hoping to bring you the topic, what was it, bullying in the workplace next week. But for now, let's get active. Let's just not sit down. Whatever our jobs is, do some little housework, sweep, walk, jog, whatever it takes. Get up, walk up the stairs. Let's get active, okay? Because activity is life. I'll see you next week.